All right, everybody. We're back. Obviously, a little solemn. Been a tough week. And let me be clear: end of the road for this season, not the end of the road for the show. All right, so we still need you to come back next week and listen. Uh, but anyway, Kane, brother, I'm not even gonna ask how you doing because I already know the answer because you suffered the same thing I did Sunday. But you know, in this show we love to give, and so we're gonna give you a special guest. You've heard him on Inside Eagles. You've read his stuff on Facebook. You've seen him Thunderstorm Media. He's all over the place. My man GQ Jeffrey Knox is in the house today, so we appreciate you coming on, brother. How's it going, Jeffrey?
Everything's good, brothers. I appreciate y'all having me on. Long overdue, man. It seemed like it's been 2 years since we did a show together, but I'm glad we did.
Well, and this season has felt like 8 seasons in one. But
it has. It has.
So before we get rolling into things, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you on social media and tell them all about Thunderstorm Media.
Thunderstorm Media started off as basically a radio show we were doing to kind of like highlight Christian hip hop artists, which we still do. Though we're saved, we still have a lot of interest in other things, i.e. sports. Okay. A lot of the listeners clamored for a sports show. We gave them that with Thunderstorm Sports. That time, I think we were on the Blog Talk Radio platform,
Okay.
Blog Talk got a little too big for their britches, started wanting to charge you outrageous amounts of money for
Don't we know that?
So moved over to Spreaker. Everything's been fine. And as you mentioned, I'm a sports writer myself, cover the Eagles for the Fansided Network. I'm the editor and site expert for InsideTheEagles.com. The social media for me is all the same everywhere. It's at GQ_4_EVA. That's Snap, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much everywhere you got social media.
Twitter.
Twitter too. Twitter. Yes, sir.
So in other words, make sure you go follow him now. That's Inside the Eagles with an I. Okay, everybody? Inside the Eagles with an I.
IGGLES. Yes,
right.
Sir. Got kicked off Twitter. I meant to tell you guys that. Got kicked off Twitter for some stuff I said.
Oh, no. Okay.
You got kicked off, or did you just get suspended?
I totally got kicked off. I'm going to say get kicked off, man, because I appealed the suspension 3 times and they never responded to me.
Okay. What did you say?
We're not going to get into that because the views of myself are not the same views of Kane and Ice. Let me just go ahead and say that.
All right. Well, okay.
I'm not going to get y'all kicked off, too.
All right. So let me okay. I'm assuming this has nothing to do with football.
It had nothing to do with football whatsoever.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to have to talk about this off air because now you piqued my interest.
We'll do that. But now it's at Storm Media 66. And we always put a 66 on there because, it's like a loaded Glock and there's 66 books in the Bible. So that's where the 66 comes from.
Okay. All right, so let's get into this past Sunday's events.
Oh, boy. If we must.
All right, so obviously Seahawks travel cross country, play the Eagles in Philly. We knew we were coming out missing some key pieces on offense, but, felt like we had a chance because we had, a quarterback who seemed to be trending upward.
Right.
And, 8 plays into the game, we lose him on I'd say somewhat dirty or definitely unnecessary hit. But, I'm not here to debate that. So let me ask you guys, let's just start with, because obviously we all know the results, right? If you listen to the show by now, the Eagles lost.
Right.
What were the 3 takeaways? And we'll start with you. We'll start with you, GQ. What are the 3 takeaways you got from Sunday's game, or the 3 keys you think that decided Sunday's game?
Takeaway number 1: Jadeveon Clowney is not a dirty player. I've never felt that way. I think he does dirty stuff sometimes to try to send a message, and I think that play was definitely dirty. I don't think he has any intention of hurting somebody, but as we spoke off air, we remember him back from South Carolina in his days at South Point High School. He's always been a little afflicted, a little uncoordinated. I'm not saying that to discredit the brother or anything because he's a Gamecock. I love him because he's a Gamecock. but he can get in modes where he's just totally out of control and has no finesse to him. That's number one for me. Number two, we'll never know how this game could have turned out, and I think that's unfortunate. For the second time in less than a month, we get a 17-9 loss. We had an Eagles team, as you stated, that was trending in the right direction, and we had Carson Wentz on the field, and we'll never know how that game turned out. Now, at maximum, I had them winning the wild card game and losing in the divisional to whoever they played.
Right.
But we'll never know how this game could have turned out, and I think that's the most disappointing thing about it. I thought we'd at least get a playoff win and Carson a little bit more experience, but that's going to have to wait for about 365 days now.
Yeah. What about you, Kane?
Well, we talked about this pregame last week, and, my worst nightmare was, Russell Wilson extending plays and making, I call
my God, yeah.
What I talk about is doing Russell Wilson things, that's what he did. And, even as close as this game was, minus Wentz, to say we had a shot is still something incredible that this team accomplished. Right. Russell did, third down. There had to be three or four, 5 third downs that he just used like, oh man, we had that, and he breaks your heart, and that was one of my major concerns going into the game that I discussed. And so that was a big takeaway. Of course, everybody, talked about the Clowney hit on Wentz. Another big thing was the lack of reporting or news or information that we were getting about this. Even from the game announcers, everybody was talking about. Nobody's talking about this. And last thing I took away from it is, just the lack of respect that Carson Wentz gets. Not saying. Well, it was even some Eagles fans, Nick Foles should have been there. We played the game, and then people were talking about, you had some people in the media saying Carson Wentz can't take the hit or he can't finish the season. I'm like, are you serious, man? So, let me take somebody 300 pounds and let me spear you in the back of the head and let's see if you can finish the football game.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, that was my major takeaway was, the criticism that Wentz was getting for basically getting speared and getting concussion, like he intended to do that and take himself out of the game. And, the fight that the team showed, even with Wentz out of the game, that we showed that we still had a chance. And I really think Wentz would have made the difference with us getting in the red zone 4 times and coming away with 3 field goals. Wentz was probably – if not one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league in the red zone as far as touchdown conversions. So that's where we really missed him on the field. But like you said, I can't say anything about the team's fight. We did fight. The defense stepped up, and, that was the major takeaways from that game for me, man.
Yeah, and for me, McCown, I ain't gonna lie, I was sort of impressed. I mean, I know he missed some plays and left some plays out there, but, you got to figure he's not really getting a whole lot of reps. No. But I was impressed with how he stepped up. I was impressed to see, especially in the first half. I mean, he was just kind of running the ball, just kind of out there doing his thing. And then that second half, that's where that 40-year-old body catch up, and he's kind of limping and, reaching back for his hamstrings and stuff in the second half. But I was impressed with how he took charge of things and just kind of, played fearlessly. And now Jeffrey, and I know you, and I'm saved too, but I, God still has a lot of work to do on me. So you need to cover your ears when I say this part, okay?
Go ahead.
When my man Metcalf, decided he wanted to wave bye to everybody, in that moment, I may have wished or said that somebody needs to hit him with a battery or something, but I asked for forgiveness.
I thought it was gonna come. I said, man, I thought about it briefly. I said, boy, they really glad he's snowing today.
Yeah. like, man, if he takes that helmet off, he is gonna get nailed.
But I don't know how we missed on him, man, because I did a couple of mocks on them, and I actually had them taking Miles Sanders in my last mock. But I think I had an original when I had DK Metcalf in the second on one of them. And I'm like, where did this JJ Arthur-Whiteside thing even come from? Like, how did he even get on the radar? Like, they totally missed on him. But then when you think about it too, the downside of it is I'm not sure J.J. Arthur-Whiteside can't play or Mac Hollins. It's like Carson Wentz was the problem. He's awful. If we'd have got DK Metcalf and he's the wide receivers coach, we'd have ruined him too.
I get
Yeah.
I just think Howie isn't good at picking receivers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
we have been terrible drafting and developing receivers. We have been god awful for the last 7-8 years. Just terrible at it. I mean, absolutely dreadful that we are. Not since Andy Reid was here, and I think the last wide receiver we drafted that actually, was actually good. Dare I say probably Macklin.
Jeremy Macklin?
Yeah, I was about to say Macklin, probably the last one. And that was Andy Reid.
I like Reggie Brown out of Georgia.
He had like one good season.
I like Reggie Brown. I still think Reggie could have been something.
I see Nelson Aguilar when I see him. For some reason, I just
that's a good point.
Handcuff those together. They kind of, body type, game, the same kind of thing. They kind of
both had one really good season, right?
And we almost missed on Deshaun, man, because they actually went with Trevor Lawrence in the first round. I still don't know how they did that.
I have no idea, man. It's been questionable. I think the Eagles as a franchise, I'm just talking the last 10 years or so. We draft well at tight end. We draft pretty well on the offensive and defensive line. For some reason, we just can't draft cornerbacks and wide receivers to save our life. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, I guess Howie's been around, pretty much that much time. I don't know about him having full control. And there's been a couple of seasons, of course, with Chip was there that, he didn't have control. But for some reason, we're just snake-bitten at cornerback and daggum wide receiver in this franchise, man.
Because they keep watching West Virginia games and just taking the skill position players from West Virginia. It's like,
forget that.
There are other programs out there.
Go to the SEC, and whoever the best wide receiver was, that's who you need to go get, okay?
All right.
To the ACC, get the best wide receiver. Get somebody who puts up down at a big program, put up big numbers. That's who you need to go get.
All right. My man who scored the 4 touchdowns in the first half against Oklahoma, Jefferson. Yes. Yeah, just go ahead and just draft him. I don't want to hear about any 40 time or size or shuttle speed. I saw this man score 4 touchdowns in 1 half. Okay, right. That's all I need to see.
Right.
All right.
Well, Howie. Well, he doesn't have the measurables. He's got a little bit on the short side. He's light. He doesn't run the route tree completely. So we'll take this guy from Stanford who's smart, who has upside.
Right.
Right.
Well, I can even live with that because of the size that he has, and I think he's gonna be a good player. I don't think he's gonna be an all-pro. I think he's gonna be a good player.
Yeah, but when you're drafted in the first or second round, you need to be an all-pro.
I got you, but my problem really is we all saw the preseason. Everybody on Twitter said Greg Ward needs to make this team, and Mac Hollins is on the team, and Greg Ward isn't.
Special teams, bro.
Special teams. It's stubborn. And like how we said, like in that exit press conference they had or whatever, he just gets attached to guys. He just falls in love with guys and just sticks with guys too long and so on and so forth. And they don't want to be wrong. They didn't want to be wrong about Donnell Pumphrey. They didn't want to be wrong about Mac Hollins, and they don't want to be wrong about these things.
All right.
And it's just ridiculous.
Somebody send Howie a Snoop Dogg CD. All right. We can't love these players, okay? Okay. Sorry. All of our listeners under 20 are like, huh? But, yeah. So a CD was something that music we played on before you had iPods and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, man. So I just don't know where to start. Well, the Seattle game, I think it was there for the taking. A healthy Wentz. We win that game.
Yeah, because if we finish like 1 or 2 drives in the red zone, we win the game. We win the game.
Yeah.
But and that's right. We call it's called a game of inches for a reason, right? And now obviously the Eagles finished the season strong. I felt, as Kane said earlier, I felt good about their effort in the playoff game. They didn't hang their heads when they could have easily kind of given up and just said, okay, you know what, we won division, you know, things just not going our way. You know, they fought to the end. Well, or maybe our cornerbacks didn't really fight, but you get my point. But let me ask you, and for me, I think the big and later on in the offseason, we'll get into going back and breaking down different position groups and rating the season and stuff. But for me, the big theme of this season has sort of been Carson Wentz coming out of the Nick Foles shadow to take control of the team. And like all these injuries and things sort of set him up to be that guy, you know, where it was like, oh, it's him. Like there's no other thing that's going on here but him.
Yeah, you're right. Because, if this team was healthy or semi-healthy most of the year, he probably would have caught a lot of the same flat or, the same flack he is always taking that, he hasn't stepped up or he hasn't done this and it's the talent surrounding him and such. But, playing this year, I mean, you can't say anybody got us to the division championship except Carson Wentz. I mean, the defense had some bright spots. When I say spots, they wasn't very bright and they were very small. Mm-hmm. But without Carson Wentz this year, man, we were barely a 500 team with him. Pulling rabbits out of the hat. I mean, we're probably 4-12 without him playing well this year. At most. So. I definitely feel you on that it was a coming out party for him and getting some respect around the league.
And I totally agree with y'all with that, man, because it's like, I don't know what people need to see at some point, man. It's like, we think Doug Peterson can't coach. We think Carson Wentz can't play. Like, everybody forgets this man tore an MCL and an ACL, stood in for 3 more plays, threw a touchdown pass that set the touchdown record for the franchise at the time. This man literally played a half a season with literally a broken back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't question his heart or his will to win or his skill. It's just a whole puzzle putting it all together around him. I mean, the weapons. I agree you say we had great weapons the Super Bowl year, but just some good weapons. When he's on fire, you see what kind of season we get. We can roll out of him. The man was about to be the MVP before he got hurt. That year.
True.
There's another thing too, another component too with that, and if I may, it's like you got 2 wide receivers who have spent a great deal of time trying to prove that we can win without Wentz. You got 2 guys that's out to get you. And I'll say their names, Nelson Aguilar and Alshon Jeffrey. Mm-hmm. And I like Jeffrey because he's a Gamecock. But you got 2 guys that's doing everything they can to show we don't need this guy. We can win without him, trying to discredit him, but do it anonymously, which I think is cowardly.
Right.
And then, Josina.
The best thing that I think that I saw for me was for both of these guys to be gone and for the team to get better. So now, Alshon, you can sit at home and see while you tweeting everything else that we don't really need you.
Right. And that cap space could be used on somebody else. And Nelson, if Nelson Aguilar is listening to this, if you want to create a burner Twitter account and you don't want people to know it's you, try not to use the word we or me when tweeting, like try to sound like you're talking about somebody else, like you're not part of.
It slips out, man. Right. You're just typing. It's a typo at the time, and you don't realize it till you hit send.
Right.
And after you hit send, it's a little too late.
And then what's crazy is as soon as people call you on it, automatically the burner account disappears.
Right. No, it wasn't me. Right. Yeah, he's from the Kevin Durant School of Social Media or something like. Yeah. Come on, man. Use your brain. Go spend some time with the jug machine and put the phone down. Like that might help you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Nelson there, man. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he played his last game as an Eagle, so we'll see.
I don't even think he's been hurt. I think because of that Twitter stuff, I think that's why he hadn't been playing. I don't think he's been hurt these past.
I don't either. His feelings are hurt. And he's trying to pout, and he's trying to prove a point. Like, you guys aren't going to do this without me, and they did. They're better without you.
So, what was his point? Greg Ward is more productive than I was?
Right. Check mark.
A lot cheaper, too. Right.
Check mark.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So Jeffrey, tell everybody one more time where they can find you and tell them a little bit about the type of articles and things that you're posting on Inside Eagles.
We try to be as cutting edge as possible inside the Eagles because obviously with so many different sources to get your information from on the Eagles, by the time the story breaks, everybody knows what the story is like 20 minutes later. So we've always tried to be fresh in our presentation and everything, try to be fresh in how we communicate the message and everything. Like you get a lot of the same stories, but you never get the story told the same way we tell it. So our strength is I put my writers up against anybody. Thank God and thank all y'all to listen. We did 10 million readers in 2019.
Woo! There you go. All right, so
big time, bro, big time.
So, all right, we need the Kane and Ice Eagles versus everybody listeners to step up, and we need to make that 11 million for 2020.
Appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that because the checks look real nice when everybody's coming by to read. So.
Okay. All right. So we need all y'all to check that out. And now he's not just posting stuff once a week. There's constantly stuff coming out. All right. So, and you'll see it on social media. Like I said, it's a great site. There's a lot of great information. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you follow him on social media. So tell him one more time. It's GQ_4_
EVA. That's
EVA,
pretty much all the social media. Follow
except for Twitter.
Except Twitter. You also got the GQ Forever on Twitter. You got @StormMedia66 on Twitter. You got Thunderstorm Media on Instagram, and like the Thunderstorm Media page on Facebook.
Yeah. So I'm just this is totally out of left field, but I'm assuming that you tweeted something about politics.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Just curious. Just had to know. All right.
It's two different audiences, man. Like everybody that rocks with us. Everybody rocks with us for the Thunderstorm doesn't care about Inside the Eagles, and everybody listening to Inside the Eagles don't care about what we're talking about in the Thunderstorm.
I got you.
We've always been the bad boys of Christian hip hop radio. We was the first ones doing it. We've always been loud. We always been brash. Of course, God gets the glory, but we're very dated, and that doesn't disqualify us, in my opinion, from having an opinion about everything else. And sometimes I just get my mouth gets me in trouble.
Hey, well, right? But hey, you can't be meek all the time. So I'm glad you said it because we need to connect you with Ben because Ben does a lot of bs3radio.com. So he does a lot of stuff with Christian hip hop and Christian artists and things. So
that's actually how we link. That's actually
okay. Yeah. So that's how that came together. All right.
Cool.
So all right, cool. So make sure everybody, like I said, check out my man's website, social media. All right, Jeff, we appreciate you coming on, brother, and have a great week, great off season. We will definitely be picking your brain throughout the off season as we get through this draft and free agency process. And next week we're probably going to talk about the coaches and the offensive staff shakeups and all that stuff. So, definitely,
I'm here.
In there. All right, brother. We appreciate you. And watch what you say on Twitter, okay?
Definitely. I learned
the police ain't no joke.
Hey,
I'll talk to y'all next time, man. I have fun. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All
right, everybody. So, please make sure you go to bs3radio.com and leave a review. Leave a 5-star review for us, okay? And of course, we want you to click on Eagles versus Everybody and check out some of our episodes and all that good stuff. But, you got time, listen to the other shows too. You got a lot of great content there, thanks to Ben. So, Kane, let me ask you, brother, and that we have a lot of time. We got a little time to talk about it. When you heard the news about the offense coordinator and wide receiver coach leaving, what was your first thoughts?
Well, I wouldn't say I was surprised, but I was shocked because a couple of days earlier, Doug said that both were safe. He said everybody on the whole staff was safe except for, Swartz if he got offered the Cleveland job or whatever.
Right.
And then, 2 days later, the boom, dropped the hammer on Grove and the wide receiver coach as well. I mean, me, I clamor for it all year. I was half tagging, Grove's got to go. Pretty much all season, man. I just thought he was stale, and although he doesn't call the plays, Doug calls the plays. I just think his his relationship with Wentz just wasn't maximizing Wentz's potential or getting the most out of Wentz, and I don't see what Groh was bringing to the table, because we look like a much better team. Of course, injuries and different personnel, blah blah blah. Yeah. But we just didn't seem to have that get out and go. That Super Bowl year, we jumped on people early. We took over. We were intense. Wentz was, to me, looked more engaged. So I don't know if it was Coach Flip and Reich that year, but I know it definitely wasn't out. Grow doing his thing on the sideline. So I was ready for him to go. I'm interested to see of the candidate names they've been throwing away, who we're going to bring in. I'd like to see somebody who has some coaching experience, somebody at least who's been an OC before, maybe a head coach before, take that job. But then that kind of lends you to this guy maybe doing well and being gone in a year or two. And then it also doesn't bode well for Deuce Staley, who's been kind of waiting his turn to probably get this spot. So it'd be interesting to see where we go with this, man.
That's true. I will say, I definitely think, if Deuce got it, I can't be mad. But, if I had a choice, I'd probably pick somebody from the outside just to get a fresh set of eyes and yes. Kind of somebody who probably has an idea of things. And once they really dig in on tape, they can really sort of, from a neutral point of view or non-biased point of view, kind of break things down. And to your point, maybe Jim Caldwell could be a good fit. He's had that coaching experience. He's had a couple of head coaching jobs. Probably not going to be on the list for teams now because, teams seem to want more coordinators or college coaches. But, I guess it's possible, if there's enough success. But I guess, if the team is successful, which, when you have a quarterback like Wentz, right, you figure championship games, Super Bowls are kind of where you expect to be at least every few years. So you're going to lose coaches, right? If you're successful, you're going to lose some coaches.
Yes,
that's just part. So, I could deal with that if it means, bringing some rings home. But I don't know. I'll say I was glad to see them not just sitting pat on the current staff. I am a little confused on how much a new offense coordinator is going to make a difference if Doug is still calling the plays. But I understand there's game planning and other things that coordinators do. So, and maybe this new coordinator can help the team draft some better wide receivers. Maybe they can scout a little better. But anyway, I do appreciate everybody listening. We want you to keep this up. Please keep listening. Please keep leaving comments on Spreaker, leaving comments on Apple or whatever platform you're listening through. Please leave comments. Like I said, reach out to us on Twitter, Kane_Ice, on Instagram, on Facebook, Kane and Ice Show. We love to hear from you guys. We love memes. We love whatever. If you got song ideas, whatever for us to play, hey, we're here for you. And we appreciate you being here for us. So, Kane, brother, what do you want to leave the people with head into the off season?
Man, I guess we'll watch these raggedy football games this weekend. Since my boys ain't playing no more.
Yeah.
But I've got some teams I'd rather see win. I'll keep that to myself for right now.
Okay.
But we'll see, and we'll be back. I mean, Eagles we're resilient. We're tough fans. We're a tough team.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen the last of us in the playoffs, and it'll be interesting. Like you said, where these coaches shake down, and also, we got to talk about these other NFC East coaches that Doug got fired too. So
that's a good point. Yeah, he snapped
got the
his
whole
fingers.
division.
Yeah,
got the whole division fired.
Snapped his fingers and made him turn to dust. So we appreciate everybody listening. Like I said, keep listening. We got some big things coming and some new things coming. So keep working with us, right? And you're gonna hear more about that. You're gonna see some more changes. You're gonna see us step our game up. So we need you to share with your friends and family and coworkers. All right. Hey, y'all have a good one. Take care. We out.